Cheers. Many people do not like budgeting, but many of those with financial goals understand that it has to be done. So many try and they succeed. Some try but fail. Maybe a week after trying to do it, they give it up. Some actually go as far as collecting every receipt from every purchase they make in every shop, and then they group them together maybe at the end of a week or a month, and they try to trace exactly where each of their cents went. Is that the best way to budget? I'm not exactly sure. Let's find out in today's video.
Show me the money!
Ndilinga Talks, Sidlumkulu Sipushi Ndilinga. Welcome to Financial Education for Africa. My name is Wisdom and I'm a financial advisor. In this channel, we discuss anything to do with financial planning, financial education, and we try to empower financial prudence for every one of our subscribers. If that sounds like you, then please consider subscribing and then hit the notification bell so that the next time we upload a new video, you'll be among the first people to be notified. The recommended book for this series of videos is still The Richest Man in Babylon, written by George Clason. It is the same book where we get the 7 cures to a lean purse. We've already done cure number 1, which is pay yourself first. A portion of your income is yours to keep forever. And cure number 2 is control your spending. A man's spending will always rise to match his income unless he contests or protests to the contrary. You cannot talk about controlling your spending without talking about budgeting. Budgeting actually is the main process we use to show control over our spending. And if you do not control your spending, actually, maybe it's symbolic that your spending is controlling you, and that's a bad way to live life, especially your financial life. There are many benefits to controlling your spending, specifically budgeting. And one of those is the fact that actually you are giving your future goals a possibility of being manifested. If budgeting is this important, then perhaps we should start by defining what budgeting is. My personal definition of the word budgeting is this. It's the process of distributing your income actually where it belongs. And you have to do so by assessing your current position in the financial life cycle, understanding your present as well as your future needs and responsibilities, as well as knowing the cost of everything. Ultimately, you will then make a spending plan that distributes money in accordance to all of those things. There are a couple of key phrases in that statement, and one of them is the financial life cycle, and I guess we have to understand what that is. In accordance to Maslow, the same guy who came up with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, people's needs as well as spending patterns differ as they progress in age, as well as the responsibilities that they either accumulate. I don't know whether you accumulate responsibilities, but whatsoever responsibilities are cast upon them as they progress in age. The financial life cycle speaks to those differences in spending patterns, as a person progresses in age, as well as the responsibilities that they come across as they continue to progress in life. For example, a person who is like maybe 28 years of age, they just recently started working, or maybe they have 3 years of working life, they have no kids yet. They are maybe still living at home, they have no car. Their spending pattern is going to be different as compared to somebody who's maybe 35 years old or maybe 40 years old. They already have, let's say, a family, a wife and 2 kids. Their spending patterns are going to be different, they're not going to be similar. So the financial life cycle speaks to those things. So in budgeting or discussing the subject of budgeting, you have to understand your current position in the financial life cycle, determine what your future goals are, or basically your future, let me call it foresight. Foresight actually is defined as the ability to know what's going to be needed in the future and then preparing meticulously for it. So you have to understand what your foresight possesses for you, and then you also have to understand what your current position is, what are the current responsibilities as well as needs that you have today. Then when you discuss budgeting, you talk about how you're going to distribute your money basically to meet all of those needs. So after you've determined your current position in the financial life cycle, I guess what comes next is categorizing everything and then writing it down maybe in a list kind of pattern for the purpose of creating a budgeting template. There are many different tools actually for budgeting, and there are many different templates, and there are many ways of doing it. And the one actually that I prefer is the one that sort of looks like a income statement or a financial statement. So I actually have an example for you here, and I'll be reading through it. So in my example, actually, I have a man here who shall remain nameless. And they have about 3 sources of income. They have a job, and they have a second job maybe for the weekend, and then they also have a business. I don't know whether actually somebody would have that much time, on their hands to do all these things, but nothing is impossible in this world. Anyway, let's go through. As you can see, actually I've designed everything like an income statement, and I have done it on Excel sheet, and most of it actually is automated. If I change anything actually on this, on any of the imports, it will note them in the different stages actually as we go down. So this person actually has their main job, which pays them about 23,000 Rand a month. They have the second job. Let's say maybe this guy is a praise and worship leader for some church, and he goes there every weekend basically to lead praise and worship. I'm not talking about somebody I know, I'm just making an example. And that job actually pays the person 6,500 Malangeni per month. 6,500 Rand per month. And then they also have a business. Maybe they have started a YouTube channel actually, and that YouTube channel actually pays them something like 3,000 Rand a month at the moment. So their total income actually would be 32,500. Now, he's categorized everything actually in accordance, right? The income tax for this particular person, his bracket is 33%, as you can see that. So his tax is basically for everything on all of his income would be like 10,725. His provident fund, which is 5%, I've put together everything of the entire gross, which is 1,625. Their pension, the medical aid actually also takes 5%, which is 1,625. So the total of his deductions is 13,975. His balance brought forward actually after that expenditure or after those deductions is 18,525 Rand. Now his priorities, in accordance to his lifestyle and his religions and stuff like that, first of all his tithe, and then also he's a reader of the book actually that we are discussing, which is the 7 Cures to Wailing Purse. So he pays a tithe to God at 10%, and that's 3,250. He also pays a personal tithe to himself. He pays himself first for the same amount of 3,250. His life insurance, because he's still a young man actually, for let me say 1 million Rand of cover, is costing him 317 Rand per month. So the total actually of those priorities is 6,817. His balance brought forward is 11,708. Now essentials, things actually that he needs for his daily day-to-day living. The first one is rent, which costs him 1,980 for his apartment. Water costs him like 250. I skipped actually groceries, which cost him 900 Rand, sorry. I'm used to this particular currency of my country. Electricity costs him 350 Rand. Phones 150, internet 350, transport to and from work is 315. That's for a month. That's the only number crunching actually that it does. That 315 actually is made out of 7 Malangeni multiplied by 2 and then multiplied by 5. So it's 7 Malangeni to and from work. That makes it 14 bucks. And then on top of that, you multiply that by 5 days in a week, and then you multiply that by 4.5 weeks in a month. So the total basically is what is it here? Transport at 315. And then lunchbox or a lunch. This guy basically spends somewhere around 35 Rand a day for lunch. So 315 Rand. It's basically 35, no, that's not 315 Rand, 787, and that's his lunchbox. That's made out of 35 Rands per day, multiplied by 5, and then multiplied that by 4.5 weeks, so that makes 787 Rand. So the total of his essentials is 5,082. So balance brought forward actually from his gross income is now 6,626. Future needs, he still wants to get a postgraduate degree in something, and that's gonna cost him 9,900 Malangeni per year. Gosh, I'm just gonna stick to that. And so if he divides that actually by 12 in a month, 12 in a year, that's gonna be 825. He's gonna have to save 825 actually per month in order to accumulate 9,900 for his studies. He wants to get married actually in the next 2.5 years. So if we're being generous, actually the wedding might cost him 90,000 rand. So he's gonna need to save at least 3,000 rand per month for that. He doesn't have a car yet and he doesn't have a mortgage, so he's spending zero on that. He's not saving towards it either. So the total of his future needs is 3,825, which leaves him with a balance of 2,801. Right, now comes entertainment. Entertainment actually has TV. It's basically Netflix. I'm just making an example. I'm not speaking about a known guy or a known person. That's gonna be 280. And then hangout. He likes going to the royal villas actually for special rates. I think they cost about 70 bucks. So he does that maybe 3 times in a month. So that's like 250. He doesn't drink, neither does he smoke. So that's all the entertainment he needs. And then traveling, he doesn't do much traveling except for when he visits his mom at home. So the total actually of the entertainment expenditure is like 530 Amalangeni, which leaves him with a balance of 2,271, and that, excuse me, that is his net income. I mean, that's his let me say, what is it called, disposable income. So a diligent person actually would also find expenditure for this, like they can maybe beef up their investments. I mean, there are other blanks actually in this statement actually right here, like he can maybe put that down as a savings for maybe his future car or maybe his future house or something. He can spread it actually across maybe 1,000 towards the car, the future car, and maybe another 1,000 towards the house. Basically, it's just empowering himself for the future. Anyway, that is how a budget actually a budgeting template should look like. I hope this is beneficial. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Look out for the next video. We're going to be discussing about investing, which is the third cure to well in purse.